Hi, welcome back folks to Max Nave Horsemanship. And nope, not baby steps today. We're done with that series, but the very last video I did in that series was when I trailer loaded the little bay into this trailer. But I was kind of preoccupied because she was a little more reactive, a little more difficult. Took a little longer, but oh, believe me, it can get worse. But I'll talk about that in a minute. But I did recall a number of things after the fact that I had mentioned to you that would, make a difference. And so I'm going to talk about them in this video. And I'm also going to insert into this video a couple of clips from other videos I've done over the years. Two clips, same horse, a year apart. I'll get to that in a minute. Because, well, that one just verifies one of my philosophies on trailering. But I'm going to talk about a few other things. Because I've said many times there's more than one right way to do things. And my way is not exclusive. You know, doing things exactly the same as I do them isn't necessarily how you need to be doing things. You might find your own way. Or maybe you've seen somebody else do something a little bit different. Follow the basic principles, you know, being gentle and using the minimal amount of tools, if at all, none whatsoever, which is my preference. Yes, I use tools. I do sometimes. Sometimes they're to your advantage. But in many cases, they're not. And well, none of them come with instructions either, so that's a bit of a problem too. So it's very easy to misuse them. And well, then that creates a whole pile of problems. But I want to talk a little bit more about the trailers because, well, I didn't mention a couple of things. Like I said, there's more than one right way to do things, and there's a lot of different ways to trailer. And one of the ways I'm going to mention, because it comes with its own set of problems, even though it's not entirely, I won't say it's wrong, don't do it, but I don't think it's the best way. And it could certainly be a very slow way. And, well, one of the ways people like doing things is they'll take a trailer, set it out in the pasture, put some feed in it, and the horse will get used to it because it goes in there to get feed. Well, there's a couple problems with that one. First off, if you don't own a trailer, well, you're going to have to borrow one. It's probably going to take a month or more to do it that way. So you're going to have to borrow one for an extended period of time. You're going to have a hard time getting somebody to loan you a trailer for that length of time. And if they ever decide they need it, and it happens to be muddy out there, they can't get to it, and it'll make it unavailable to them. And most people own a trailer, so it's there when they need it. And that doesn't work well. So that's your first problem. Second problem is if the pasture is shared with a couple of horses, which most of them are and should be actually, no horse should be alone. There should always be at least one or more horses out there other than the one you're trying to trailer train. And if one of those horses happens to be pretty comfortable with the trailer, well, they're going to go in and eat all the feed because they're not going to hesitate to go in the trailer if they're comfortable with it. So they're going to go in and, well, then your feed's gone and the one you're trying to trailer train has no incentive to go in there. That's one of many problems. Oh, another problem is, of course, like I said, never a good idea to try loading a horse in a trailer when it's not hooked up to a tow vehicle. Well, you're not going to want to leave your tow vehicle sitting out in the pasture. You're probably going to want to drive it. So that means you have to go to option B, which is block the trailer up, which means putting blocks under the back end of it, chalking the tires so it can't roll, and put something proper under the front end. I've seen so many trailers, not just horse trailers, but trailers in general, very improperly blocked under the tongue. The blocks collapse, the tongue goes down. Yeah, not good. Put something proper under there if you're going to go about this route. Okay? If you happen to own the trailer and you're going to leave it out there without a tow vehicle, you know, if this whole scenario is even possible for you, then make sure the trailer is properly blocked up. Back and front, chalk the tires so it can't roll, can't move. It's as stable as could possibly be and safe. And then, of course, that next part is you got to make sure that door's tied open or blocked open or something's holding it open. You can't have your doors flapping in the wind. That's not going to work. So that's another problem. And then it depends on the type of trailer and the horse. Could have problems too. I had one, share a little story about one I had, one of my own horses. Well, she wasn't a particularly tall horse. She wasn't even 15 hands, but she had a very long body and an exceptionally long neck. And at that time, I had a 2 straight load. They're not a real long trailer. And I tried enticing her in with feed because she didn't trailer well. But she clearly was not afraid of the trailer, so I thought a little feed might do the trick. Well, I had a 2 straight, and I stuffed the hay as far forward in the manger as I could, and that horse was actually capable of eating that hay without her back feet ever leaving the ground. You might run into that, in which case that method will not work. A similar method to that, enticing a horse in with feed, and I've seen done, is, and this did not work, they would, a couple I knew, they had 3 horses, one did not trailer well at all, and to make her more comfortable with the trailer, they tried enticing her in with a tub of feed. They'd put some oats up in the front of the trailer, and it was long enough that the horse had to go in the trailer to get the feed. Well, bribery doesn't work. I've mentioned that before in other videos. It doesn't work. If their fear of the trailer overrides their food drive, because a lot of people say, oh, my horse is food driven. Well, all animals are. If they don't eat, they die. Okay, it's a very natural thing to be food driven. They all are. But if their fear of something is stronger than their desire for the food, they're not going in there to get the food. If they're scared of that trailer more than they're hungry, because in most cases there's grass out there somewhere, or something they can eat, so they're not going to go in the trailer. So, and even if you do get a horse to go in with feed or treats or whatever you're using, if the day comes that you need to load your horse in a hurry and you don't have one of those things handy, how are you going to get the horse in the trailer if you don't have the bribery? Okay, so bribery doesn't work. Bribery is not a good way of doing things. Okay, and so, but like I said, there's things I didn't mention because of the fact that, well, trailering is a very complex topic actually. There's a lot going on with a trailer. And well, I was busy paying attention to that last one because she was a little more reactive than the first one, and I had to really pay attention to her. It took a little longer to get her in, but that actually isn't worst case scenario. Things can get a lot worse than that, believe me. We'll get to that in a minute. But when it comes to trailering, it's not just about whether or not the horse will go in. It's how comfortable it is when it's in the trailer. And in just a second here, I'm going to insert a couple clips. The first one, it's the same horse in both clips, but the first one was when I, shortly after got the horse, I just wanted to test her out in the trailer and see how well she would trailer if one of those emergency things came up with where I had to trailer, okay? I wanted to know whether or not she was going to go in, if I was going to have a problem. And she was reasonably obedient, and she would go in, but she was clearly not comfortable. And the one thing that I didn't show in that clip, because that wasn't the first time she was in the trailer, it was actually maybe the second time, I think, when I thought to turn the camera on, which at that point I think was my cell phone. And she was actually so uncomfortable in the trailer and shaking to the point where she was shaking the entire trailer. The whole trailer was shaking because she was that nervous. And then she'd do the squat as she was backing out. She was nervous about that as well. Well, between the first and second clip was a year, during which time I never went near a trailer with her. Did all kinds of other things. And I basically worked on getting her trust and obedience, much like I did with the young ones you watched me doing. And so, well, in the second clip, you'll see how she trailered in that one. Just because a horse goes in the trailer doesn't mean it's good with the trailer. I was told this horse trailers reasonably well. She loads not bad, and well, that was fairly true. I mean, she doesn't load super good, but you know, she loads okay. But she's very, very clearly not happy in the trailer. I mean, she's gotten much better, as you can see. She's not freaking out and rocking and everything else, but she does get nervous, and even now she wants to back out, and she's not very good at backing either when it comes to the trailer. She gets very nervous about backing out of the trailer. And I want to show you this because this is important, because unloading the horse is just as important as loading it if you don't want bad things to happen and injuries and that sort of thing. And I'm going to see if I can get her to do it here. You watch when she goes to back up. This camera isn't going to be very good for this, but she's going to squat down a bit. See, she's already getting nervous and squatting down. Watch how she backs out. Okay, that's not what you want. Been over years since she's been in a trailer. And during that time, I haven't worked on trailering at all, but I have worked on a lot of other little things, and we worked on building a relationship, based on trust. And I've never breached that trust with her. Never asked her to do anything that scared her. Never asked her to do anything that hurt her. So I thought, well, I wonder how she'll trailer. Well, there's your answer. And that's why I believe, okay, you can back out now, dear. And that is why I believe that trailing really doesn't have a lot to do with the trailer. Well, you saw those, and that was a demonstration of how my philosophy is trailering has got very little to do with the trailer itself. It's got to do with the horse trusting you enough to go where you ask it to go, and obedience when you send it or lead it, whichever the case may be. So it's not really about the trailer. There's only very rare occasions where the trailer itself becomes an issue if the horse has had a particularly bad experience in a trailer, something like that. With the youngsters I was working with here that you saw in the other videos, they're pretty much clean slate. I didn't have to deal with their past history too much. I'm sure that they both had less than ideal experiences with trailers, but fortunately it wasn't many, and so we quickly managed to get over that. And because they trusted my leadership, they're obedient to the things I asked them to do, and trusted me enough to go where I asked them to go, we had not too much problem. Also, if you watched that last video, you'll notice a clip in there where I trailered one of my own horses. Didn't even have a lead or halter on him. I just opened the door and in he went. Well, that looked pretty good, and it was pretty decent. He did actually get a little bit better after that. Not much, because you couldn't get a whole lot better than that. But the very first time, and this is where I want to, one of the things I was leading up to is, the very first time, he did not back out. And I'd mentioned this in my last video, is some horses don't like backing out. And that's why it's very important you don't lead them all the way in. And even though I did it a little bit at a time with him and backed him out, when we finally got him all the way in, he didn't want to back out. He wanted to turn around in the worst way, and it actually took quite a while the first time to get him to back out, because he didn't want to back out. He wanted to turn around, and I wouldn't let him. He finally gave in and backed out. And the first couple of times, he was quite nervous about that. It wasn't real cool. It took a while. What you saw in that clip there, that was a few times. We'd done that, yeah, quite a few, I think. First time backing him out, man, not good at all. And actually, he didn't even want to go in that great. I thought by the time I got to the trailer with him that because of his personality, I thought it'd be pretty easy. And no, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't horrible, though. The biggest problem was backing him out. But even that last one, you saw the horse rearing up and backing up and things like that. That's not bad. I've had much worse reactions than that from horses that said, no way, I ain't doing this. And they would actually rear up and run backwards for, well, quite some distance. Metric or standard? Imperial? I don't know what you want to call it. Yeah, long ways, gone. But you do it exactly the same. You go with the horse, keep a little pressure on, and when the horse drops back and up, takes a step forward, you win. Even if you're a lot further away from the trailer than you were when you started, it doesn't matter, it's still a win, because the horse moved in the right direction. So, not always easy. I want to tell you that. It's very important you understand. Trailering a horse isn't easy. And as I mentioned in my videos, it can be dangerous. It really can. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. If you don't have the confidence and comfort level necessary to get in that trailer and lead that horse in, and don't just do it because you're stupid, think it through of what can happen and what can go wrong. And if you aren't comfortable with the risks involved, don't do it. Get someone else to do it that knows what they're doing, that's done it several times before. And I've done this a few times. I know the risks, and I know how to protect myself and keep myself safe and what I need to do. So I'm game for it. I'd still prefer not to do it that way. I'm sure maybe there's a better way of doing it. I don't know, but it's the only way I know how that's truly effective. And like I said, it's one of the last things you're going to do with a horse after you do a whole lot of other things. If you have trailering problems with your horse, don't just go straight to the trailer. Do a few other things first, get them really good with that, leading and sending, that sort of thing. Extremely important, because going into the trailer, it involves leading, advanced stages, it's sending, and, well, you want a horse that trusts you to go in and is obedient enough to go in when you ask it to. And those are two components extremely important. And it takes time to develop that. That's not something that happens overnight. And I can't even say one way of doing it. There's many ways of doing it now. And everything you do, every minute you spend with your horse leads up to that. So watch those last two videos that I did on trailering, the very last one before this, and the one a little while ago where I trailered the paint. I gave advice on doing things, on make sure the trailer's secured either to a tow vehicle or blocked up. It's not going to move. Very important when you're trailering. And the trailer isn't just about getting a horse in the trailer. There's a lot more to it. Close the door, open the door, bang on the trailer, move the trailer, start the car, go around the yard, things like that. Graduate. Don't just slam the door shut and take off to the show. It's not going to work. It'll probably make it really, really hard to get the horse in the next time, and you may have a heck of a time getting the horse in and get it home. So I explained that in one of my other videos, talked about it. I hope you watched that one, because bad things can happen. Really bad things can happen, and it's very inconvenient if you're in a strange place and you can't get your horse back in the trailer to get it home, and everybody else there wants to go home. Show's over, they're done. It's home time, and you're still there fighting to get your horse in the trailer. It's not going to make you look foolish, but it's going to be an inconvenience to a lot of people. So take your time and do it right. Trailering is complex. There's lots to it, lots going on. Sights, sounds, movements, vibrations, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff. Trust and leading and leadership and all kinds of things that most people don't even want to talk about, but it's all important stuff that you need to do. And the trailer is not just about getting the horse in the trailer. And like I said, those clips that I just put in, that verifies my theory that trailering has nothing to do with the trailer, or very little. And because that was a horse that was not comfortable in the trailer. I didn't go near a trailer for a year. And in the second clip, that was the first time ever, I just walked up to the trailer, opened the door and said, "In you go," and we actually went. And I stayed on the ground, outside the trailer. And that was the difference, and that kind of proves that, the fact that she trailered that much better, that, well, and I never went near a trailer. So does trailering really have a lot to do with the trailer? No, it doesn't. So hope you got something out of that. Like I said, you got a horse that's comfortable. It's going to eat all the feed. The other horse isn't going to have an incentive. So I don't think leaving a horse trailer out in pasture is a good idea. Personally, I don't think a trailer left unattended that a horse can go in is a good idea at all, for many reasons. But I don't think that's a good way to do it. It's certainly not, in my opinion, the fastest or easiest way to do it. Well, it might be easy in some respects. It's not a lot of work for you to do, but you're going to have to go out there daily and check and make sure there's still some feed in there for it and whatever. And then if you're not there when the horse goes in, you don't even know what kind of progress you're making. You have no idea. So you aren't going to find out until it's too late and you're trying to go somewhere and the horse doesn't want to go in the trailer. So best to do it where you're there and you're leading the horse in or sending it in, whatever the case, however you want to do it. I don't care. I'm not going to get into that. But leaving a trailer out in the pasture, I don't think it's a good idea. Can it be done? Yes. Is it the best thing to do? No, I don't think so. I think there's better ways of doing things, and it is not without its problems. Like I said, everything from the horse that's comfortable with the trailer is going to eat all the feed. the horse that you want to go in the trailer isn't going to go in the trailer. If a horse is like that one stubborn little thing I had, with a really, really long neck, she might just eat the feed without ever leaving the ground. Yeah, well, that horse did eventually go in a trailer for me when I finally got serious about it and said, no, that's it, you're going in the trailer. And I believe that was the day I sold her. We had to load her in the customer's trailer, and they couldn't get her in, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did exactly what I did with the little ones that you just saw me doing. And within a matter of just a couple of minutes, she was in that trailer. She wasn't scared of the trailer. She was just, a little stubborn, didn't want to do it if she didn't have to. And, well, surprise, I'm stubborn too. So, anyhow, I hope you got something out of that. And hope I didn't forget anything this time. I know I was thinking ahead to all the stuff I wanted to talk about to, enlighten you as to the details I missed, because when I get busy with a horse, I forget things. I get busy and I don't think about things. I'm concentrating on the horse. I'm paying attention to the horse. I try and throw in as much as possible, but I don't remember everything. And, if you're wondering why I'm standing in front of the trailer, yeah, I'm going to go load another horse. Actually, a little bay, I think I'm going to go get her and put her in the trailer again, because she's got a long ways to go yet as far as getting comfortable with the trailer. And I'm not going to bother videoing any of that because you've seen her go in, and I'm not going to bore you with repetition. And, well, that series is done. We're over with that now. But this one, I'm just throwing on the end the trailer. And I'm going to throw in a couple clips to establish that trailering isn't about the trailer. It's about a lot of other stuff. And one of the other things that may have worked to my advantage on that one, too, I was just thinking about is the day that I did that, when I opened up the back door and asked the horse to go in, the sun was actually shining into the back of the trailer. So it was probably a lot better lit, which made her a lot less hesitant to go in, too. So one more thing, and I mentioned that in another video, is if you got the option, turn your trailer around so the sun's shining in the back. Have your trailer as well lit as possible. Life's going to be better for you. So anyhow, I can't think of anything else right off the top of my head. I'm sure as soon as I shut the camera off, I'll remember something. That's the way it usually goes. But unless something substantial comes up in the near future, this will probably be one of the last videos for me you're going to see, because I was kind of hoping that the viewership would go up, and my watch time has gone up a bit, but it's kind of stagnated and then dropped off a bit. And even though I've got a significant number of subscribers, very few of them actually watch the channel apparently, because and I don't know what's going on. It's like I said, it's got something to do with YouTube, because I got one video out there, it's got 100,000 views. One, it got by YouTube somehow. Ended up in their algorithm, I don't know what. And I tried duplicating that formula, the title, the length, the content, and hasn't worked. I can't duplicate that. So I don't know why that particular or that particular video is so popular, but it is. So I know the potential is there, but if I'm not going to get any more views, I think this will be the last one. Well, unless something else comes up. Prior to doing baby steps, I'd quit, and then that came up, and so we did that. But that's all done now. So this will probably be the last video you're going to see. Well, at least for a while, until something else comes along. Who knows? And in the meantime, have yourself a very wonderful day and go spend some time with your horse. Bye now.